How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been rehearsing for the last 3 days. We start recording tomorrow, and I'm excited. Got 18 songs here in the next 3 days.
Well, I saw you on my friend Paul Overstreet's page on his Facebook, so I know you were
Terrific.
recording with him.
Yeah, we had a ball. Yeah, nice people. The Overstreets are great.
His daughter Harmony and my friend's daughter Kyra, they are best friends. So I also met him at fanfare as a teenager, though. I was a early on like country introduced because I'm from Texas, so they introduced me very early.
Oh, terrific.
Well, and it's funny because when I posted that I was doing an interview with you, I was obviously inundated with questions about your Dukes of Hazzard days. So I was like, I know this is going to happen, but I will push post anyway. So I narrowed it down to just two or three fans, so that so we don't got too many, questions about it. But so Marsha Hinkledye wants to know, do you miss the Dukes of Hazzard days? I think that's kind of what everybody asks.
Well, of course I do. And what I miss most about it is the camaraderie of all of our friendships, especially Denver Pyle.
Yeah.
Denver Pyle was a very big influence in my life way back when, and I miss having his advice at hand. He always knew when something was wrong, and he'd say, "John, come on over here. Let's talk for a minute."
No way.
Wonder what was going on. Yeah.
Aw, that's awesome. My friend Kyle Patterson here asked, do you miss the General Lee? And I was like, hey, I saw you just jump in the General Lee recently. You can still do that.
You betcha.
Oh my
I have a
gosh.
General Lee. Lisa and I've got a General Lee sitting right up at the front of the studio, so I don't have a chance to miss the General
It's always
Lee.
there.
He's still around. Yeah.
Oh, I'm hats off that you can. I'm very slightly younger than you, and I couldn't jump in that window for nothing. Well, I could jump in it. They would have to use the paramedics to get me out. What's funny is Brad Fisher asked, when will you be at Cooters again? And I thought it was a joke, but it's a real place, right?
Oh, he's got three of them. Yeah, Ben has three of them. One in Music Valley, one in Gatlinburg, and one in Luray, Virginia. So, yeah. I've not actually done a scheduled appearance at Cooters since we did the one a year and a half ago.
That must be when he was talking about.
What happens with me is if I happen to be near the one, especially here in Nashville, and I see people outside, I'll stop and take a picture with them.
Oh, that's
so I'm
awesome.
Unscheduled, but
That's
in the
awesome.
future here, I'm going to be playing the Nashville Palace, which is just 2 doors down from Cooters. So maybe during that time we'll do something a little more organized.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know. Now I have to go. Like, now that I know there is one, now I have to go. That's part of my childhood. My brother drove me insane with Dukes of Hazzards growing up because he was slightly older than me, and I couldn't even admit how much I liked the show because he was my brother and he was icky, but I love the car. Like, it's funny because when I told my kids I was interviewing John Schneider, they all said, who's that first? So my 24-year-old son, I said, Bo Duke. And he's like, now is it the real one or the one that they came back with on one of the movies? And I said, no, like the real one. He's like, that's awesome. If it was the real one, that's awesome. And then my middle child, she's 22, and she's like, I don't know who that is. And I said, the dad on Smallville. And she's like, oh, got it. And my youngest, I was like, okay, what reference? Because she's so like in the pop world, if it's not Justin Bieber-ish, she doesn't really know. And I said, oh, wait, I said, he was Grace's dad on A Secret Life of the American Teenager. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So, you never know what age you're reaching. Exactly. But I have so many references. Michael Warren wanted to know, what was it like working with Jane Seymour on Smallville?
Actually, I didn't work with Jane on Smallville. I worked with her on Dr. Quinn.
Okay.
She was on Smallville, but at that point, my character was already deceased or floating around in the atmosphere or whatever. I'm not quite sure, what. But we didn't work together there. But working on Dr. Quinn was great. I'm really a cowboy at heart, so it was great having somebody hand me my sidearm and my badge and arrange my horse every morning I went to work. Kind of a dream come true.
Well, yeah, when they look like Jane Seymour. Yeah. Well, we have a horse farm down in Texas, and I tell people when I retire, I'm just building a small little cabin with just the essentials, and I'm gonna live out there in the middle of the pasture with, on that 150 acres of nothing, and that's I will come visit all of you, but that's where I'm gonna.
Kitchen post in your outhouse. That's all you need.
That's all I need, man. Now, I did have one interesting question from Jen Gotson, who wants to know what your favorite scene was in Doonby.
Have to be the scene. I don't know if it was a Mercedes. I know we were in a convertible.
Yeah, it was a Mercedes.
Mercedes, and we were out late one night in Little Smithville, Texas, right next to what used to be the world's largest gingerbread tin.
No way.
They made the world's largest gingerbread cookie in Smithville, and then somebody beat it. But we did a scene there talking about life and me trying not to give away that I was actually nobody.
Right.
So that scene, she and I in the Mercedes.
And she really loved the kind of explosive scene at the end with her, and I said, yeah, but then I'm like,
she was great, yeah.
I was like, but the guitar. I mean,
she breaks the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty darn good too.
But then don't you go like, there's a guitar though? I hoped it was.
That's the one. Well, we went and got I think that was like a $25 guitar at not even a garage sale. I think they bought that at Walmart, so it wasn't a very nice guitar.
Wow. I feel better about it going on to the great beyond. Well, what's funny is Jen came here. I did a red carpet here for Doonby here in Michigan, and I flew her out. And we did like a Q&A afterwards, and during the movie, she sat with me, and it's kind of funny having the co-star, in your ear, and she's like, in that scene, she goes, "Now, Ginger, this is one of the times where they had John be spontaneous and like throw something in there that I wasn't expecting." And she said, "Guess which one it was?" And I guessed the wrong part of it. And she said it was the pizza moment. And she said, "You were so great about being able to just kind of stay in character." I didn't know, this is my bad as a Texan, but I didn't know you sang until I watched Doonby. When they had the making of Doonby and I heard your song, I loved your song that you wrote for that. And I was like, wow, I thought, is that really John? Like, that's really good.
Well, thanks. Yeah, somehow a lot of people get, it seems like they know the songs and they know the shows, but they don't know the same guys both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're trying to fix that. We're fixing that now.
Well, you are. I mean, now you're concentrating on your music and you're bringing in just stellar people. Am I right? This is a 52 song situation.
Yeah, 52 songs. We've released a song a week this whole year, and we've got 18 left. So we have recorded 34. We've released 24. So we won't miss a week. Every Tuesday of the week for 2018, we release a new song. Making up for lost time.
No doubt.
Great songs about life and happy parts of life and sad parts of life, questionable parts of life, and we even have a song about Cracker Barrel. So it's all in there.
There's nothing questionable about Cracker Barrel. It rocks. Like,
yeah, universal favorite.
Yeah, but I love Toolbox. I think
isn't that a great song?
It's a great song, John. I think, well, for me, I don't know. I grew up in a town called Farmersville, so when you know, when they made Doonby, I was like, that could be my town. Like, there's nothing there. You know, it's very small,
Right.
and I love that. But you know, when I heard that song, I was like, this is my grandpa. Like, that's immediately who I thought. I was like, that was my grandpa. I just knew that tractors didn't work, and then they worked, and if I had a doll or any, my brother had a car, anything that didn't work, it always worked after he got his big old ugly tool. His wasn't red. I think he made his toolbox, but
Right, sure.
I mean, it was, you know, it's something, oh my gosh, it's something just very um, amazing, you know,
I
to,
would say I swear he could work miracles with those two calloused hands. That's great. It's
and
a
to say he
wonderful
had the
song.
Bible in there, you know, it's kind of like
Yeah,
he had everything he needed to fix everything in your life,
everything.
basically. You know, oh,
Yeah.
I love that. So, do you have?
Well,
I mean,
thank you.
you're collaborating with some heavyweights. I interviewed Paul Overstreet, and after that interview a few years ago that I did, people were
Uh-huh.
like, really? Like, I didn't know he did that song and that song and that song. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, he's amazing.
he
Very
is
prolific writer.
a great writer. I mean, Love Can Build a Bridge and Forever and Ever Amen. I mean, songs that, again, like, I'm like, you don't know who he is, but you really do, you know.
Right.
All
Yeah.
you got to do is say, you know, one of those hits that he made. So how is it that you're releasing like behind the scenes things as well, right?
Yeah, we released a show on our Cineflix. It's called Cineflix DOD. You get to all this stuff through the website, which is basically JohnSchneiderStudios.com. But we're doing, excuse me, so far we've got seven. There's seven, so I've got a lot more editing to do. But there are 7 episodes of Artist Studio Access, and that is a behind-the-scenes look. We actually recorded these songs.
Well,
And,
oh,
you know,
that's what's
wouldn't do it.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Nobody's ever really done that before because cameras were bigger and they were in the way. But we've got a great team of documentary filmmakers that can come in and kind of be invisible or as invisible as you can be. And it's been great. People are loving that Artist Studio Access.
Well, so what are you doing for touring this year? I'm assuming that there is. I mean, I know you're like so busy. Are you able to also do some tour dates?
Yeah, just played the Hank Williams Theater in Montgomery, Alabama this last Saturday. And 2 weeks prior to that, we played the Franklin Theater here in Franklin, Tennessee, and then the Dunlap State Fair, and then the Smith County Fair. So we'll play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then go back to Louisiana. But just the other night at the Hank Williams Theater, it was sold out, which was great, and it shocked me because people were singing along with songs like Toolbox and songs like Wherever She Is, I Hope She Stays There.
Wow.
It was really, really cool because these songs really
They're very
exist on the
new.
internet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'm not even
Airplay.
behind on this. I mean, I just got to know that song was my favorite of what you had already released. But wow, like that's incredible. I think that
Yeah.
that has to be. I can't sing, and I never try, and unless I want to embarrass my kids. But that has to be one of the hardest. I mean, one of the greatest things about after all the hard work is to see like people having fun like to your songs and singing them back to you. That has to be kind of the
Well,
ultimate payoff.
it's amazing, and they're crying because we've got some really sad, poignant songs as well, and it really is the ultimate reward. And because of that, I think we're kind of reaching a milestone here, because I think the word is out now that I'm out doing this, and that the songs are great, and the show is great. So we're all of a sudden getting more calls about booking. So I think what is going to wind up happening toward the end of the year is it won't just be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be out Wednesday through Sunday afternoon for much of the tail end of 2018. So I think we'll be in the tour business here before long.
So I'm curious. Now you have 3 kids, correct?
I do, yeah. They're out in California. They're big. They're old.
Well, I mean, they're still your kids. I mean, they're not kids,
Yeah.
but are any of them like into music, like to do music? Are they into doing music? Any of them?
My son did lots of musical theater and actually went to school for acting and theater. He went to college for that. So he's a singer. The other 2, I think, would not say they were singers. I don't think anybody else would.
Well, are they something? Do any of them want to act? I mean, your sounds like your son has kind of a little bit of a bug for it.
Yeah, Jason has a bug for it. He's been in a couple of the movies that we made over the last couple of years. Actually, 3 of them. Yeah, Hate Crime, Trace Leshace, and Anderson Bench. He was in all 3 of those movies.
You and Alicia, you've been working on a lot of this stuff together, correct? I mean,
all of it.
All of it, and
every bit of it.
She does kind of like a lot of the management aspect of what's going on.
Because I'm busy trying to remember the chords.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to do your part. That's your thing. Yeah. It's kind of great to have that as a support, as her, to be the manager, because she's always going to be looking out extra for you more than a real manager.
Well, oh yeah, and it's essential to have a partner, somebody who has a similar goal and a different skill set in order to reach it.
Yeah.
So in our world, I'm the writer director and she's the producer. I'm the performer and she's the one that makes sure we're all there on time and that there's a band and that the contract is good and everybody gets paid, because I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't know how. So in our world, we say if 2 of us are the same, then 1 of us is unnecessary.
Exactly.
So we are the team to beat. We are a fantastic team. And the evidence is we've made 7 films and recorded 70 songs in less than 4 years.
Oh my God.
Kind of remarkable.
That's remarkable for any singer or band, either one. Like for the amount of songs only. Just even if you weren't doing any of the films.
Yeah. Those 7 movies in there, and it's like, what?
So you apparently haven't slept in about 4 years.
She doesn't sleep all that great. Producers have a lot going on.
Well, yeah.
I just I hit the pillow and I'm asleep.
Well, because her mind's still on every detail that needs to be done. Okay. Like everything needs to be done right, because she wants to honor your craft. And so her details are constantly in her mind. I have that kind of mind. I've done some band managing, and it's still on your mind when you go to bed going, okay, now that venue out there, I'm going to have to change this in the contract. Like that's still going through your mind at, 1:00 in the morning. You're like, why am I still thinking about this stuff? But it's a blessing and a curse.
I'm not blessed or cursed with that kind of mind.
I'm really super curious about one thing to talk about, reminding me of my grandparents and my mom. Is that you and Alicia are launching a variety show, Yeehaw, that is an ode to Hee Haw. I lived in that cornfield most of my youth.
Of course, 4 episodes of it, and we do a live musical variety show right out of the barn at the studio with an audience there. And we've had Ruth Busby on it, we've had Lulu Roman on it, we've had Kit Bush on it, Tom Bresh before. And the plan is to do at least 1 a month, but there's just not enough time in not enough days in the week or hours in the day right now to be able to do that. But after we get done with these next 15 songs, which will be Friday of this week,
they can get that on your website, correct? Like if they want to get access to that, you still keep the episodes up there?
Yes, there are links to that, and I think they're like, no. Yeehaw is not up anywhere yet.
Okay. All right.
They live on hard drive. They're not each one. But I'll do a big push when I'm done with that, honestly, but not getting back at the studio for 1 or 2 days at a time in the last 8 months. So, not until I get back, which, like I said, we're down here Friday, so we'll be back at the studio the following week. A little bit of time to rest, hopefully.
Yeah, the song that you did in Doonby that I loved was Not Enough Month at the End of the Money. And I was going to say, there's not enough, month at the end of your time, like you've got to be, well, I think too, you're at a point in your life where, isn't it great that it's not all contractual. I mean, I guess it is in certain points, but you can see that you collaborating with all these different people you seem like free creatively to do a lot of different styles of things.
Yeah, we're there's a bit of chaos, but we're in charge of it. We do the music we want with the writers we want to work with, and record the music with the musicians we want to record with. And same thing with the movies. And we hire the actors that we want, and we show the movies where we want, and do the music where we want. So it's I wouldn't trade anything in the world for where we are. It's great. I would like to have people see Yeehaw though, because I think it's pretty spectacular.
Well, so is there anybody? I mean, if they said carte blanche, you can work with anybody you want to write with. Is there somebody you haven't written with that you would love to?
Oh my gosh!
Is it too long of a list?
My favorite, I've been working with Chuck Cannon, and when you're working with Chuck Cannon, Paul Overstreet, Bobby Tomlin, and Bill Anderson, I mean, my gosh, and Jim Martin. So no, I'd say I'm working with everybody I want to work with.
You kind of have the cream of the crop right now.
Really do. Other folks have passed on. I'll tell you who I'd like to write with. I'd like to write with Bobby Braddock.
Bobby Braddock?
Bobby Braddock. Stop Loving Her Today.
Oh my gosh, that song. Like, just hear the title of that song and you just want to stop what you're doing and listen to it.
Or Jimmy Webb.
It's something so great about country is, that storytelling. And so you kind of you can let your imagination run wild in writing country songs. I love that about country. It's so much. There is some that's not storytelling, that's kind of veered off into pop land or something where it isn't back. But I think that's what I love about what you're doing. Is I'm not a big fan of country if you just lay it all out as one genre, but I am a big fan of the style and the real grit, behind people like Paul Overstreet or, the George Jones and, even Hank Williams, especially Hank Williams Sr., when it's, I don't know, and watching you guys collaborate, that kind of stuff is, I love you. And I will say that I really loved hearing you on Doonby, and it's hard to replicate. I think probably the quality of the sound of your voice onto digital format. I don't know if it is or not, but but that song, there's really, the songs that you sing in Doonby, it's really just you and a guitar. And I think that's, when you can really obviously hear your tone of your voice, but I think you're a lot better live, and I'm going to have to find out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, please do. Please come see me sometime.
I will tell you, in Doonby, the only thing missing was probably you and Robert Davi singing together. Have you heard him sing?
Oh, yeah, I have. I just did a movie with Robert. Yeah, he's great.
Oh, my gosh. You think about that. Sinatra and a little old school country, that might be actually pretty entertaining. But he had two great singers in there. I saw your face millions of times by the time Doonby was over with. So I either didn't like your music or I really liked it, and I really liked it. So, and you're just very charming on screen, and she just thought the world of you. She just thought you were and I'm glad to finally talk to you after Doonby. That was I think that was 7 years ago.
So at least.
Yeah. Well,
listen to more music. We're going to put another 10 out the next month.
And so we just go to johnschneiderstudios.com to stay in the loop, and also you have a page too. So everybody
Yeah,
needs
like
to
the
like
John
the
Schneider
page.
Studios. If you'd like to go to the John Schneider Studios Facebook page, if you click on Shop Now, it'll take you right to the .com. So you didn't have to know about the .com one. Just go to the John Schneider Studios Facebook page, click like, and then there you go.
And you're putting up some cool pictures of the collaborating you're doing. So I saw it on Paul's page especially. I know he's happy. He's in the he's I think he can just sit in songwriting and just kind of live there like floating in a swimming pool. He's just in his element. Well, you have a blessed day, and tell Alicia hi. That's actually my youngest's name. That's my youngest name. Thank you again so much, and I'm loving this, and I'm dying to wait on the Yeehaw. I can't wait to see that. Thank you so much. You have a blessed day, John.